Experience is the greatest teacher. No true words have ever been spoken. You know. And the quote is important and it relates to this video because majority of the things I've learned, I learned through experience. It's not something I read or something I, seen a video on. It's something that I actually lived and I learned from my mistakes the hard way. And I think it's important when you learn things to share that information with other people so they don't make the same mistakes you made and they can prevent the things the hurdles that you had to cross. Maybe you can help them on their journey, make their journey a little bit smoother and easier. So anyway, I chose 14 as an age because I was 14 when I became a freshman in high school, and I had more freedom in my life, and I was able to make more of my own choices and would be able to implement some of these things. So yeah, that's why I chose the age 14. And this is a quote that I wrote that sums up this list to me. It goes, if I would have known and understood and applied these things, specifically number 1 through 4, I would have undoubtedly not only became like the people I envied, I would have surpassed them. That's how important these things are to me in my life. And how, if I would have implemented these things when I was younger, I would have been able to reach my potential more fully. I would have really been able to grow and progress. So this list is very, very true and is very meaningful to me, things that would have changed my life when I was young, and I hope they can help you along your journey and help you evolve. Hey, what's up? My name is Luma DeMel, and these are 11 things I wish I knew when I was 14. Yeah, these are in descending order of importance, and number 1 through 4 are the most life-changing to me. Okay. Number 11, you do not own your girl. This was, like I said, it's not by far one of the most important lessons I've learned, but it would have helped me in my life, in my journey. I was extremely jealous when I was younger. Extremely jealous. Like if I had liked a girl or a girl liked me, or I was with a girl and a guy even made her laugh, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but I'd be racked with jealousy. Like, it'd be on my mind all day. I'd be thinking about it all night. It'd be something I stress about. I was a very controlling person. And one important lesson I learned, thanks to listening to people like Patrice O'Neal, to Corey Holcomb, listening to men and women's, I had to understand that a woman is a person too. Like, you can't control what people do. If a person says they like you and they enjoy you and they love your company, you got to take their word for it. It's like, if a person likes you, I had to learn that if a person likes you, they're gonna show you that they like you. Like, you can't constantly be on a person's back, or you shouldn't be so invested emotionally in a person when it comes to sex, because you can have sex with another person and not love them. You can have sex with a person and love someone else. Like I said, these are lessons that I wish I would have learned earlier. Of course, I could have learned these later, but earlier would have helped me understand that I do not own my girl. I can't control her. She gonna do what she want to do when I'm not around anyway. Don't worry about it. If she like me, she like me. And she gonna show me that she like me. And if she don't, keep it moving, because there's more fish in the sea. I just wish I would have understood that when I was young. Just understand that people don't see the world the way I seen it. Just because a girl is laughing with another guy's joke or some shit like that. Only she knows what's going on in her mind. And if she said it's nothing, and that she's faithful to you or whatever, you got to take a word for it. And if not, don't be stressing over this shit. It's too much shit going on in the world. Too much things to do to be worrying about that shit. Just relax on that with the girls. That would have helped me a lot at 14. That would have helped me a lot, because I was with this girl that I really liked, but whenever other guys was in the room, or even my own cousin was in the room who introduced me to her, and he made her laugh and things like that, I'd get jealous. If I knew what I knew now back then, I would have I just would have, I wouldn't have stressed as much. I just wouldn't have worried about it as much. So I wish I knew that you can't control what another person does, another person's actions. And if you know what I'm saying, if you really like a person, you can't make them like you back. And if they say they like you back, then you gotta take their word for it. You can't make them have feelings for you, make them act a certain way. You gotta, man, just chill. I'm not saying it like I want to, and I'm not saying it that would make sense to even a younger me, but I don't want to spend all day on this one. So 11 is, you do not own your girl, and to all the people out there, you do not own your significant other. They're gonna do what they want to do when you're not around anyway. If they say they love you or like you, take their word for it. Can't force a person to like you. That'll make a person not like you. Okay. I learned this by listening to Patrice O'Neal, Corey Holcomb, listening to and the various women that were on these two guys' shows. It just helped me understand that men and women don't look. We look at sex similarly, but we put a lot of pressure on women when it comes to sex. Sometimes women have sex indiscriminately like guys do. We just put more on it. We just put more, say it's more than what it really is. So, just know that if your girl cheats on you or something like that, it's not the end of the world. And that doesn't necessarily mean she doesn't like you. It just means that people just like to like each other. I don't know. I can't explain it, but don't be stressing over that shit. Number 10, people respect honesty. This would have been important to me when I was 14 or when I was young, because it wouldn't have impacted much, but I feel like I would have became a more likable person. When I was young, like, I prided myself on being an honest person, but I was too much into flattery. People do respect honesty, and when people ask your opinion, I think people respect when you give them your honest opinion back. I mean, that's why they're asking you, to understand your opinion. And if you realize that the person is asking you, knowing and expecting a reply back, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like at 14, 15, I would have been important for me to understand that, especially when it comes to relationships. That's how you make relationships last. I think, as I learned when it comes to cheating and having sex with other people when you're in a relationship, is actually, as a guy, your girl don't necessarily leave you for cheating. What she would do is leave you because you lied. It just no one respects liars generally. So honesty is respected. If you can just be honest with yourself, be honest with other people, I feel like your relationships will be stronger. Your relationships will definitely last longer. Lying is the number one reason for, I think, breakups and argument and shit like that. Lying is. I mean, I think at the end of the day, women know men are gonna have sex with other women. It's just the fact that we lying about it. That makes us look like assholes. Just be honest. Just be honest with yourself, your people. You know what I'm saying? Just honesty is overall respected. You want to go farther in life and respect it more in life, just be honest. People ask you your opinions. Be honest. Don't try to flatter them. Or if you can find a way to make honesty nice somehow, do that. But just be honest. Yeah. I'm missing some, but at the end of the day, this is just number 10. It's not that important. I mean, it's important, but it's not 12 minutes of talking important. So that's number 10. And I learned this through, again, Patrice O'Neal. I learned this through observing people that I respected. And I noticed that people do, in fact, respect people who tells them the honest truth. But people tend to ask you more about your opinions when you be honest. So being honest, that's a must. Number 9. I wish I knew when I was 14 how important exercise is. Now, I plan on putting up some studies and shit like that, talking about how important exercise is. But when I found out how important exercise it wasn't based on any medical things that I've studied. It was basically looking at the correlation between people who worked out in their personality, or people who exercise in their personality. When I say how important exercise is, I wish I would have knew when I was younger, because your body is still developing when you're young. Obviously, you're not the same height or build you are at 14, 13 than you are when you're 20. So it's important to exercise if you want your body to develop fully. You want your body to develop the way it was supposed to. And this makes common sense to me. If you're 13, 14, 15, and you exercise regularly up until the point you're like 20, 21, your body will be more developed. You're more likely to, feel yourself out because you're active. That exercise actually helps improve intelligence. Exercise makes you more attractive. Exercise increases willpower. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're exercising regularly, by exercise I mean they could be playing sports, working out at the gym. At some point you're gonna want to quit, but you push yourself to keep going, and when you're doing that when you're young, that carries on to when you're an adult. Doing push-ups or at one point you're gonna want to stop, but you keep going because you want to achieve what you want to achieve as a result. So exercise is very important. It'll fill you out physically. It'll help your body develop. It'll help your mind develop. Just because you're 21 years old doesn't mean your body grew the way it was supposed to grow. You need to be exercising and doing all this shit when you're young. That way you developed physically when you're older. And exercise is very important, especially as a child, for multiple fronts. One front is because it's the exercise. But I'm specifically meaning sports when you're young. If I would have been in sports, I would have been able to be around other kids. You know what I'm saying? Other teens. It just would have been an overall better experience. I always have your child exercise. Always, when your child is young, it's a must to put them in sports. It's a must to have them exercising, and yeah, it's a must if you want them to grow up properly. If you want them to develop properly physically, have them around other kids. It helps your brain develop. Like I said, it increases willpower. But it's an absolute must to have your child in sports. Broaden the horizon. Teaches them how to interact and communicate and go with other kids, other teens. So it's a must to have your children exercise. I wish I would have knew this at 14. Yeah. Like I said, I learned this by studying athletes, looking at the people who were more, I guess you call it the popular kids, and they all, for some reason, either played sports or had played sports. I don't know the exact correlation, but it's definitely a correlation between playing sports and having a more developed personality, being more outgoing, whatever that. Maybe it's because the people who enjoy sports have those personalities anyway. I'm not sure, but playing sports would have definitely helped us being 14. So yeah, number 8, stay out of the streets. I wish I would have knew this at 14. Not saying I was in the streets, because I wasn't. I was in the house. I was in the house playing video games, watching TV, shit like that. But because this is in descending order, after I would have done number 1 and number 2 on this list, it was important for me to know to stay out of the streets. And I guess I'll come back to stay out of the streets. So number 7, stay away from drugs. Now, I had to put this on this list somewhere. My life has changed, good and bad, dramatically, whatever, because of drugs, the effect that drugs had on me when I was young. Now, this is the twist. If I had implemented number 1 and 2 on this list, I probably wouldn't have had the effect of drugs that it had on me. The reason why drugs affected me so dramatically because I was underdeveloped. I was weak mentally because of the habits I had growing up. So had I implemented number 1 and number 2 on this list, I wouldn't have got fucked up on drugs. But besides the point, it's important to stay away from drugs because I've been seen personally with my own eyes necessarily, even though I do sometimes, but for the most part. When I say stay away from drugs, I mean hard drugs. Stay away from coke, any habit-forming drugs like that. You know what I'm saying? For one, it's expensive. You know what I'm saying? Stay away from crack. I hear that's highly addictive. Crack has ruined people's lives. Cocaine has ruined people's lives. It's so addictive. People are rather, you know what I'm saying, steal from their mama, their daddy, steal, you know what I'm saying, ride, kill, steal for this drug, and you don't want to do that. You don't even want to try it. Don't be around it. It could fuck you up mentally. I'm saying it's just stay away from drugs. If you don't already know, stay away from drugs. And I wish I would have knew this at 14. Because when I was 16, 17, I got fucked up on weed really bad. You know, you don't hear about people getting fucked up on weed. The reason I was, in fact, fucked up because, like I said, I was weak mentally prior to me doing drugs. And I don't regret smoking weed. I wish I would have. I feel like everybody should smoke weed a couple times in their life because it really opens your mind to the world. But if I would have, you know what I'm saying, if I could go back and tell myself, it'd be stay away from drugs, especially the hard drugs. Don't touch no crack, don't touch no cocaine, stay away from pills, anything that's addictive. Because I guess I had semi-addictive personality, kind of, not really, but kind of. So stay away from drugs. They could ruin your mind, ruin your life. It happened many times, and alcohol is considered a drug by definition. Just stay away from hard drugs. But if you're gonna do, like I said, alcohol or smoke weed, let that be the only. Do not, because it will fuck you up. Don't do drugs. Basically, do not do drugs. Stay away from that shit. And if I could go back in time, I would show myself videos of people who've done drugs, who's doing drugs, see how it ruined their lives. So stay away from that shit. Stay away from drugs. And I learned this shit just by observation. For one, through experience, I understand how drugs can fuck you up mentally, though I don't have much of a problem with weed. It was just I was weak mentally when it fucked me up. And weed can become a problem too. I think over time, weed does dull you mentally, honestly. Weed makes you lose, makes you forgetful. Smoking in moderation, that's fine, but people who smoke like every day, all day for years, I think it makes them more forgetful and eventually dulls their mind in some way. Be careful when you're smoking weed too. Too much of anything is a bad thing. So I would have told myself, stay away from drugs, bro. Stay away from drugs. These are your arch enemy. Yeah, especially hard drugs, especially. Little weed here every now and then, that ain't no shit. Alcohol, you know what I'm saying, it ain't good for you, but that ain't shit. Just stay away from the hard drugs. It will fuck you up. Okay, stay away from drugs. Number 6, you win some, you lose some, but it's the fact that you stood up and fought that's respectable. I wish I knew this when I was 14 because I was somewhat of a bitch when I was younger. I let people get away with things, get over on me or push me around slightly more than they should have because I was afraid. And people can't, no one respects cowardness, what I would tell myself. The world is breeding you to make you stronger. People only want to be around strength. It's like it's nothing respectable about being pushed around and even bullied. You need to. I wish I would have knew this because I think I would have been a more likable person also because there's times when I was pushed around publicly and I didn't do shit because I was scared of getting beat up. But now I understand that. Now I understand that people will make fun of you for getting your ass beat. That's for sure. But people will always respect you for fighting back. It's the fact that you fought back, and it's not necessarily always physical. If I were to go back in time, it'd be like, don't let nobody push you around. You might get your ass beat, but that's okay. People respect that you fought back, not that you necessarily lost. And besides, the more you keep fighting back, you'll eventually you'll learn how to fight. So you know what I'm saying. This goes for other things, but mainly physical fights. I learned this through looking at like I studied Tupac, for example. Watched a documentary talking about how Tupac could not fight when he was younger. Basically, it is the saying. He didn't have no hands when he was younger. I don't know how true that is, basically. But I found it, strange because I respect, Tupac, and Tupac has a lot of respect, and it makes you question, like, it's not the fact that he couldn't fight or whatever, it's the fact that he always fought and he always stood up for what he believed in. And that's not the only example. There are many more. There's one female I knew. I don't know her very well, but I knew her. She used to stay getting her ass beat. But I feel like she was respected. She was known because it's not the fact that she got her ass beat, it's the fact that she fought back. So people respect you for standing up. It's always respectable. It's not the fact that you lose a war or lose a battle. It's the fact that you fought back and you didn't take it stand and send down. That's respectable. So I always fight back. I wish I would have knew that. Yeah, I wish I would have knew that when I was 14. I would have been developed more to a courageous person. Yeah.